Abuse want action against the Parole Board that approved the early release from prison of convicted rapist Bob Hewitt in the wake of the outcry from the former tennis star's victims and rights groups. The decision is now being reviewed by the Justice Minister. In 2015, Hewitt was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Hewitt, now 79, was convicted of the rape of 2 women when he coached them as youngsters. He was also found guilty of sexually assaulting a third teen whom he coached in the 80s and the 90s. Last week, the lawyer of one of Hewitt's victims was informed of his pending release without consultation with any of the women. The review comes in the midst of repeated calls for harsher punishment for perpetrators of violence against women and children. So to talk about that, we are joined now in studio by Olivia Yasriel. She is here with us in the studio. A very good evening to you. And, you know, it's just as I was thinking about it, obviously in contemporary language, when one has had an ordeal such as yours, to even be called Bob Hewitt's victim is something that I think you wouldn't appreciate.
Not at all. I'm actually just a warrior.
You're just a warrior. So tell me about, I know you said it feels like being raped again.
Yes.
This time by the system.
Yeah, and it's actually not even the first time that the system has raped me. They raped me in court, they raped me last year, and they're busy doing it again. And it's just a constant re-traumatization and having to revisit the initial trauma over and over and over again.
So how did you find out about the parole?
We have been preparing because we were told last year that he would apply for parole. And we've been trying to contact the prison for, I think, 2 weeks now, just to give them some, to give them emails and contacts so that they could let us know and obviously invite us to appeal the parole. And we eventually, well, my attorney got hold of the prison on Thursday morning and they told her that he had been released, or he was being released on the 23rd of September.
And there was never any consultation with you as victims at all? Not a single one of you?
Not a single word. In fact, the first time that any one of us, and only one of us, has been notified that he is being released was on Friday morning at 8:30 in the morning by email.
And did she then go on to communicate with the rest of you, or how did you find out about his being released?
Well, I knew on Thursday already that he was being released. And by Thursday afternoon, they were denying that he was being released, so they lied to us. Friday morning...
How did you find out about his pending release?
Our attorney, Tanya Kun, she called the prison and they informed her. Yeah, you know, it's just been one big cover-up from the beginning. And so one of the victims or survivors has received notification, not that we are invited to go and appeal the parole, but to inform us that he is going home on the 23rd.
So then just tell me, what were the reasons given to your fellow warrior about why he was being released on parole? If you were not consulted, surely there must have been some reason, rationale behind why he was being released on parole.
Nothing. It's a letter to say that this letter served to inform us or inform her that Hewitt will be going home on the 20th. That the parole board met on the 23rd of August. And that they've taken a decision and he'll be going home on the 23rd of September.
And you all sprung into action to speak out against this?
Well, I sprung into action, yes.
So what channels did you employ to register your opposition?
Our attorney and advocate immediately, obviously, got in touch again with the parole board. We contacted media. And then they went to the Justice Minister.
Who then obviously has now reviewed.
Who has over the weekend reviewed it and issued a statement.
Olivia, tell me, what are your thoughts around the various headlines that we've been seeing as a country, especially over the last couple of weeks? It's almost been like an onslaught of the state of abuse against women and children, gender-based violence, femicide. Especially in relation to your own experience.
It's extremely draining. It's extremely tiring. It's exhausting. It's depressing. It's you know, there's so many aspects of it, and I get contacted on a daily basis by a number of women asking for assistance. So I think I get a very big impact or, you know, a large portion of it just kind of falls on me. I think the timing of this has been really good for us and really bad for him. So, you know,
would you ever entertain his being released on parole at all, ever?
No, I will fight it until I die. He must
even
stay
if
there.
it's on for medical reasons or the fact.
No. He never, for what, you know, people keep saying to me, but he's old. Just leave it. No, he had no regard for the fact that I was 12 years old. None whatsoever. He's served a miserable 3-year sentence. To date, I've served 38 years. And I've still got a good couple of years
And he was
ahead
never
of me.
remorseful?
No, he's never ever shown remorse.
Never acknowledged that that is what he did to you?
He is not taking accountability for it on any level.
Are you able to just briefly tell us what happened to you?
Well, you know, there's a lot of talk about grooming. Not very many people know about grooming. He approached me when I was 10 years old to coach me. I had seen him watching me at tournaments. He spoke to my mom, promised my mom that he would get me to Wimbledon. Not that he would try, that he would. She moved me across to him from the coach that I was with. That was when I was 10. When I was 11 years old, by then he had started grooming me. He took me overseas with him. I'd had an incident with him in the States. Funny enough, his wife was in the room with us.
So you're saying she knew?
Oh, of course she knew. Of course she knew. And when I was 12 years old, that was 6 months after we were in the States, he got an opportunity and he raped me in his car at the tennis club and still made me go and play tennis afterwards.
And how long did this continue for?
It continued for a few years. I think I was with him for about 3 years after that.
Did you tell anyone? Did anybody notice?
After the first incident, the first time he raped me, I tried to tell my mom about 2 weeks after the event, and she dismissed me. He had told me that nobody would believe me. He had also told me that he would get into trouble, which is probably why it took so long to tell her. And of course, when she dismissed me, he had said to me that nobody would believe me. Where do you go from there?
If your own mother doesn't believe you.
100%, you know.
And do you think then that's the success of these abusers, that they create that fear, they know how to even groom witnesses to the crime and how to react?
100%. You know, I mean, I've been told I'm back playing tennis again. I have been for a few years now. And something that I encounter at almost every single tournament that I go to, somebody will come to me and say, but we knew what was happening, why didn't you come and tell us? Well, if you knew what was happening, why didn't you do something about it? I was 12 years old. You were 13 or 14 years old. What exactly were you going to do about it? You know,
playing tennis, is that a way of getting your life back, a handle on the situation, maybe protecting other young girls?
It actually started off as he had said in court that I wasn't really that good. And I was like, well, I'm going to show you what good is, you know. And so it kind of was I don't even know what the word is right now. It was like I'll show you.
A fight back of sorts.
And I hated it when I first went back to tennis. And despite all the triggers I have on the tennis court, one of them is that I smell him all the time. Despite the triggers, I love it now. I absolutely love it.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Olivia Yassir is one of the women who was raped by Bob Hewitt. Of course, she's fighting back, saying that he needs to remain behind bars and pay for what he did. Don't go away. We'll be back after the break.